folks, welcome back to MTG Burgeoning, and in this video today we are re-examining our kitchen table series. You can click on the links below to see the previous installments of MTG Burgeoning's kitchen table series, and what we're pretty much doing is sitting down and playing and deconstructing and constructing a deck that I've played with at the kitchen table with some degree of success. And hopefully through watching this video it might be a build that you already have or may be planning to make in the future. And if you are a fan of the show and have been following the kitchen table series all along, we started off with a white deck, and then we started with a blue deck, and naturally, here's our black deck. And let's start with a very, very simple mana base of swamps. Just swamps. Nothing but swamps. 23 of them. All swamps and nothing but swamps. So that's our easy mana base. We throw 23 swamps right there. And as a bit of ramp, we'll throw a Soul Ring in there. A playset of Dark Rituals would go very well. You can eliminate some of those swamps. If you take out 4 swamps, add some Dark Rituals. That could speed up the game plan here a little bit. So let's talk about what our game plan is with this specific mono black vampire deck. This is a deck that could win very quickly, or it could grind out and end up just whittling down the opponent through big old threats on the ground and in the air. So let's start off with removal. Let's look at the spells that we have to stall our opponents. Now, in a straight black deck where all of the mana is just swamps, except for the Soul Ring. Of course, we got 23 swamps. One of the best removal spells that we could possibly play, spot removal-wise, is a common from Modern Horizons named Defile. For 1 black, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp we control. Perfect. We've got swamps. We only need 1 black to remove most creatures, as long as it doesn't have hexproof or protection, shroud. 1 play set of Defile. 4 copies going in. Okay, next up we have 2 copies of Feast of Blood. For 1 and a black, we cast Feast of Blood only if we control 2 or more vampires, destroy any creature, and we gain 4 life. 2 copies of Feast of Blood. Very flavorful inclusion there for a vampire deck, no? Next, for the removal, we got 2 copies of Diabolic Edict, another common from Modern Horizons. This one a reprint all the way back from the days of Tempest. So, for 1 and a black as an instant, target player sacrifices a creature. This is fantastic to dance around hexproof, protection, shroud. 2 copies, Diabolic Edict. And lastly, to bring our removal count up to 10, we have Hideous End. As an instant for 1 and 2 black, destroy target non-black creature, its controller loses 2 life. 2 copies, Hideous End. That losing 2 life, that can add up very, very well. And why do we have so many removal spells? 10 total removal spells in a 60-card mono black deck? Well, that's so that we can take advantage of Blade of the Blood Chief. For an equipment that costs 1 to cast and 1 to equip, whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you can tell the age of this card because it doesn't say dies. Whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. If the equipped creature is a vampire, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it instead. Every creature in our deck is a vampire. So with the removal we have here and a couple of these bad boys, we can get some big vampires out very quickly. All right, so let's meet the vampires of this mono black vampire build. Okay, let's shift this over here a little bit. That's better. There we go. Okay, and there's our Blades of the Blood Chief. All right, our first play set is a 1-drop, the Gul'Draz Assassin from Rise of the Eldrazi. For a black, we get a 1/1 Vampire Assassin. The level up mechanic, for every 1 and a black, we can put a level counter on this creature. Of course, level up only is a sorcery. When this has 2 to 3 level counters on it, it becomes a 2/2. that allows us to tap a black, tap the creature, and target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If we get 4 or more level up counters, we can tap a black, tap this creature, and as a 4/4, we can give target creature -4/-4 till end of turn. This is another great form of removal to help us power up those Blades of the Blood Chief. 4 copies of Ghoul-Draz Assassin, and is acting as our only 1 drop of our vampires. All right, our next play set, again from Modern Horizons, Cordial Vampire. For 2 black, whenever he or another creature dies, there's a theme here, folks. Whenever he or another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. So with all those forms of removal, and the Ghoul-Draz Assassin, and our 2 copies of Blade of the Blood Chief, Cordial Vampire makes it just that much more dangerous for us to kill our opponent's creatures. 4 copies, Cordial Vampire, right next to the Ghoul-Draz. All right, and next up are 2 different play sets of 3-drop vampires. One where we can go on the offensive, and one where we can go on the defensive. So let's start with our offensive vampire, and that would be the Captivating Vampire from Magic 2011. For 1 and 2 black, we get a 2/2 Vampire Lord that will give all other vampires we control +1/+1. We tap 5 untapped vampires we control. We gain control of target creature. It becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. So if we are curving perfectly and we've got our 1 drop out there with the Ghoul-Draz, and we get the Cordial Vampire or some combination of one of those and a Blade of the Blood Chief, we can drop down the Captivating Vampire, and then we can start pushing through for major damage. 4 copies, and it is so beneficial that he's not legendary. So he's a 4 copies. And our next play set of a 3-drop is going to be the Vampire Nighthawk from Zendikar. For 1 and 2 black, we get a 2/3 flying, death-touching, life-linking vampire. With him in play, we can definitely go into a little bit of the defensive shell because of the death touch, and it flies, so it could block anything on the ground or in the air. Or if it already flies and has death touch, it could act as an offensive guy too. So Vampire Nighthawk can go both ways. But the death touch is a great deterrent for our opponents from attacking. 1 play set of Vampire Nighthawk. So if we are having a great draw and we're having a great game, we got our 1 drop, we got our 2 drop, we curve right into our 3 drop, and if everything lines up perfectly for our 4 drop, it should be a game ender. And if that happens and we get the Vampire Nocturnus, it will be a game ender. For 1 and 3 black, this 3/3 vampire makes us play with the top card of our library revealed. However, if the top card of our library is black, Vampire Nocturnus and all other vampire creatures we control get +2/+1 and have flying. And the odds are in our favor at about a 67% chance, give or take a few percentage points, that top card is going to be black. So we curve in perfectly with the Ghoul-Draz, a Cordial Vampire, one of our 3-drops, and hit the Vampire Nocturnus, then that's going to be game. 2 copies, Vampire Nocturnus. Now, of course, it's not always going to be that easy. We're not always going to be able to curve in perfectly or have an amazing, immaculate draw. Sometimes the game's going to go long, and if the game goes long, well, we've included some vampires here to help take advantage of the amount of removal that we carry, and all of the additional swamps that we've included in this deck too. So let's get to the mid-game vampires that can help us get to victory. And the first one is the Twilight Prophet. For 2 and 2 black from Rivals of Ixalan, we had a 2/4 flying vampire with the Ascend mechanic. It won't be hard to get the Ascend mechanic in this deck. I'm sorry, it won't be hard to get the City's Blessing within this deck. So at the beginning of our upkeep, if we have the City's Blessing, which is Ascend, reveal the top card of our library and put it into our hand. Each opponent loses X life and we gain X life, where X is that card's converted mana cost. This can help swing some life totals. 1 copy, Twilight Prophet. Also 1 copy, Anawan, the Ruined Sage. For 3 and 2 black, this 4/3 vampire, legendary vampire, I should say. At the beginning of our upkeep, each player sacrifices a non-vampire creature. So some additional removal, great to get rid of Indestructible, Shroud, Protection. 1 copy of Anawan. Next up, 2 copies of Drana, the Calastiad Bloodchief, straight from Rise of the Eldrazi. For 3 and 2 black, this 4/4 flying vampire has the ability where you can tap X and 2 black, and target creature gets -0/-X until end of turn, and Drana gets +X/+0 until end of turn. Through my experiences getting her into play with some mana, she's unstoppable. You will just dominate the board, and Drana will bring you to victory so quickly. 2 copies of Drana, Calastiad Bloodchief. And lastly, our biggest spell and biggest vampire that we have, 2 copies, cards 59 and 60, I believe, because this is just a 60-card deck. We have the Necropolis Regent. For 3 and 3 black, this mythic rare from Return to Ravnica is a 6/5 flying vampire. And whenever a creature we control deals damage to a player, deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Necropolis Regent, if it connects, it's turning into a 12/11 flying vampire. 2 copies, Necropolis Regent. And folks, that is MTG Burgeoning's Kitchen Table Series Mono Black Vampires. So let's take these cards, let's shuffle them up, and let's do a couple test draws and see how it turns out. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at the deck list and the nice, wonderful vampires within, let's see how likely it is on a test draw or two that we can have a perfect curve 1 to 4 and put all kind of vampiric pressure onto our opponent. Again, this is MTG Burgeoning's Kitchen Table Series. This is the 3rd video in the series. We began with mono whites, we continued with mono blue, and as the color pie indicates, we continue with mono black. All right, so let's give it a whirl, give it a quick test draw, and let's see how we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Okay, got the Cordial Vampire. Oh, we got Defile. You know how much we love that card. There's our Ghoul Draz Assassin. Okay, oh, we need a land. Give us a land. Come on. Oh, don't do it to us. Oh, look at that. Unbelievable. Duh. Well, that doesn't really fill the audience with a great deal of confidence now, does it? So we mulligan down to 6. Oh, come on, baby. We had it, too. 1 or 2 lands, and we would have been set. All right, this one we're down to... Oh, no, wait, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put 1 back. Now we'll get nothing but lands. Okay, Diabolic Edict. Oh, jeez. Oh. All right, we'll shuffle Anawan back, and we will hope to get a couple of good top draws. Top deck draws, come on. Come on, we're trying to make this series a bit of a success, and if we get draws like this on camera, oh my goodness. All right, first turn, oh. Second turn, oh. Third turn, oh. Well, that's a loss. All right. All right, so we're 0 for right now, folks. That was not good. But that's what Magic is. We all know it. Everyone's been there. Come on. We've all been there. That's what makes Magic such a great game. That's what makes it the most complex game in the world. All right, let's try this again. Can't possibly be as bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be it right here. Okay, removal. There's our swamp. There's another one. Oh, what the heck? Whoosh. Oh. And, oh, seriously, you know what? Let's go down to 6. I am determined to show that this is a good deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, here we go. Swamp. Nighthawk, okay. Ooh, Drana. All right, now just give us another land. Oh, perfect. Give us a 2-drop. Come on, give us the Cordial Vampire. All right, that's not terrible. Okay, our first playable hand, and we'll shuffle back Drana. All right, that's not bad. Couple turns in, let's see what we can do. Let's move our hand out of the way. Mono Black Vampire build. Kitchen Table Series. Okay. Alright, let's give this a whirl. Few draws. Let's see what we can do. Draw 1, the Nocturnus. Turn 1, we'll put out a Gouldraz Assassin. Turn 2, oh. Alright, let's do it. Let's put out 2 more Gouldraz Assassins. Come on, give us a land, baby. Oh, well, that's not terrible. We'll cast the Blade of the Blood Chief. Put it on there. Okay, we've got a board state. Attack with a couple of 1/1s. Come on, give us that. There's our 3rd land. Captivating Vampire. Nice little Lord. We're swinging for 6. Now it might be time to start putting some level up counters on these dudes. Oh, there's number 4. Oh, we're just going for the kill. Let's just do it. Tap 4. Vampire Nocturnus. Be a black card. Oh, there he is. Cordial Vampire. Look at that. So now our guys are going to be getting +3 and flying. Yeah, that should be a good game for us, folks. That's what I'm talking about. That's what the deck is supposed to do. Nice flood of early vampires. Hit one of the lords. Swinging with flying. That's much more indicative than the first couple draws with this deck. Alright, let's give it one more whirl. So the first one, not so successful. The second one, mucho successful. And that was down to 6. Alright, so we'll make this one. This will be the rubber match. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, swamp, swamp. Anawan. Alright, give us something else. Oh no. This is like shades of the first one. Oh. Well, that's a mulligan. Maybe 6 will be the lucky number this time. Come on, I want that Gouldraz into the Cordial, into one of the 3-drops, right into the Nocturnal. Right into the Vampire the Vampire Nocturnus. There we go. Okay, come on, baby. Let's do this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the Cordial. Okay. Defile. Early removal. Blade of the Blood Chief is great. Nighthawk. Land. And another land. Ooh, so you know what? We're going to shuffle back a land. Keep a hand of 6, putting back a land. We got some early plays that we can make. Draw that 3rd land should not be a problem. We've been drawing massive amounts of land so far already. Alright, so here we go. Turn 1, bam. Alright, we got some removal. We'll throw out a Blade of the Blood Chief turn 1. Whoops, draw a card. There's our second swamp. There's our Cordial Vampire. Draw a card. Oh, that's nice. So this is great because what we could do is equip that, and then we can probably safely assume that one of our opponents has a creature in play of toughness 3 or less. So we can cast our Defile, kill the creature, Get a couple of +1/+1 counters on our Cordial Vampire, swinging for 3. Actually, that's going to be, I did that wrong, so we're going to get 2 +1/+1 counters from the Blade of the Bloodchief, and then 1 +1/+1 counter on the Cordial Vampire. So we're swinging for 4. Pretty nice. And if our guy can stay on the board, we draw another card. So we can go another removal spell, put 3 more counters on the Cordial Vampire, play a Nighthawk. Lots of options. That's a much better. So the last 2, even though we had the mulligan down to 6 each time, that's much more indicative of what this deck is going to do. And there you have it, folks. Mono Black Vampires from the MTG Burgeoning Kitchen Table Series. Go forth and enjoy this day. What is an MTG Burgeoning Pack War? An MTG Burgeoning Pack War is a monthly YouTube series during which combatants are randomly assigned booster packs from the same Magic the Gathering set. It will never be Dragon's Maze. The combatant who opens the most valuable rare, mythic rare, or foil will receive every rare, mythic rare, and foil opened during that video. Example: if 12 combatants pack war, then one of these 12 individuals will receive every rare, mythic rare, and foil opened during the event, based on who opened the most valuable card. If 36 combatants pack war, then one individual will receive every rare, mythic rare, and foil opened during that video. How can I participate? Go to patreon.com below and join the Pack Wars tier for $5 per month. There are only 36 slots available. Each month beginning in July 2020, X contenders will prepare for war, X being the number of eligible patrons. Each patron who joins will be eligible for the following month's Pack War, and each following month thereafter if still a patron. As the number of patrons increases, so do the potential rewards. Prepare for battle. All card prices are as stated by TCG Player Mid at the time of opening. In the unlikely event of a tie, each deadlocked combatant will receive a bonus booster pack to help break the tie. The combatant who opens the most valuable rare, mythic rare, or foil from these bonus booster packs will break the tie and be awarded all rares, mythic rares, and foils opened during the video.